Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. As you can see from the three bone giants in front of you, I'm going to be taking a look at the new unit added to the Tomb Kings in this latest patch. Of course, this is a free update to the Tomb Kings, and yeah, we've got the bone giants, of course, ranged, monstrous construct, I guess you could call it. It does anti-large armor-piercing damage, quite a bit in fact. They also do magic damage. Of course, armor-piercing in melee, they don't have the best combat stats, but 80 armor, fear and terror, you know, all that jazz, what you would expect from a construct. This is actually a 2v2 today with myself and Gojira fighting against Black Iron Battles and Turin. I'll have links to Gojira and Black Iron Battles in the description below. Of course, if you guys don't know about Turin's channel, I'm not really sure what you're doing here, but anyway, yeah, we're going to be taking Khalida and Cetra in an alliance against a foul green-skinned horde. So let's quickly go over the army compositions. Put it in pause real quick, as this battle is a lot of fun and I don't want to miss a second of it. We've got Khalida here, and the reason that she's in the center of this massive kind of missile Death Star here is she's got this Blessing of Asaf ability, gives plus 15 reload skill, missile damage, and armor piercing damage, 15% missile damage and armor piercing, that is, to all units in an area of effect. So currently that is hitting these bone giants and these Ushabti. It's also hitting this Casket of Souls. I believe it's even hitting both of these units of skeleton archers as well. So you can see we've got quite the Helm's Deep. Oh, it looks like that skeleton archer is a little bit outside the box, but anyway, we've got quite the Helm's Deep here. We've also got a Lich Priest, Lore of Light for myself. Of course, Cetra is up on his War Sphinx here. He's a caster himself. He's with the Lore of Nehekara. He's got Cursed Blades and Protection. He's also got a Tomb Scorpion, two Tomb Scorpions in fact, a Hero Titan, front line of Tomb Guard for Cetra's forces with the Kepper Guard in the center. We've got Skeleton Spearmen out to the flanks. I've got some more Skeleton Spearmen around the rear. That's pretty much it for our force. For the Green Skin Horde, we've got Grimgor leading the Green Skin Tribe, and Wurzag, of course, leading the Savage Orcs. Wurzag coming on foot with a Goblin Big Boss. We've got Black Orcs and Savage Orc Biggins out to the flank. Gobos up through the center for the Savages, and more Savage Orc Air Boys, Rusty Airs. We've got two Orc Boar Biggins, including the Bloken Tusk Mob. Savage Orc Biggins, Black Orcs. For the forces of Grimgor here, Orc Air Boys, more Rusty Airs, Force Goblin Spider Riders, two of them. We've got another Orc Air Boy here, a unit of Trolls, Gobos out to the flanks, Orc Biggins up in the center with another unit of Black Orcs. We've also got an Orc Shaman, another Big Boss, and just green skins all over the place. We've got Mangy Marauders out to the side here, as you can see. And yeah, we're going to get things underway. Now, of course, with the Khalida buffing up their missile damage here, normally they wouldn't have this high missile damage, but Khalida is buffing up all these guys quite a bit, and since they have such high missile damage to begin with, those percentage-based buffs are pretty ridiculous. You can see this Casket of Souls up to 1,100 missile damage here in total over 10 seconds. So yeah, they're giving some serious buffs here. You can see these Black Orcs are definitely taking some pain here. And yeah, the Bone Giants themselves are an armor-piercing anti-large, as I said. They're going to be good, especially against cavalry, I found from my experience. They're not necessarily the best at shooting at single models, although they are okay, but they're at their best shooting at cavalry. They do some pretty decent work against infantry, though, as you can see from that shot there. Just with such high weapon strength, we've got a missile spell coming in from the greenskins there. These Mangy Marauders in the back are going to get caught by a net of Ammontok, and then we're going to run in there with some Skeleton Spearmen. But the real focus of this battle, of course, is these Bone Giants. We've got them all kind of focus firing in different areas. This one's firing here in the center. We've got one firing out to these Boar Boys on the flanks, while the Greenskin Horde runs in here with full-on charge. Unfortunately, the WOG not popped right before these guys. That would have been probably the ideal time to pop it, but now being popped before some of the units get into combat here. Cetra diving pretty deep, going straight in on these Trolls. Probably going to take a lot of damage there. We've got Black Orcs and more following up. The Greenskin missiles are returning fire here, but the Tomb King Helm's Deep here is definitely holding fast. Khalida has run into the front line. She's engaging, trying to take down Grimgor, doing quite a bit of damage. The Tomb Scorpions in here supporting, but once Grimgor gets up, he's going to do quite a bit of damage to Khalida. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if her missile buff is still in range of those constructs. It looks like it's not at the moment, so they're not quite getting their buff. We can actually look base 545 there for the Bone Giants, so yeah, but you can see Black Orcs have been shattered there. A little bit of overcommitment from my missiles. In the center here, Greenskin Infantry are going to be winning out, but man, those Trolls are taking some hits from those Bone Giants. And they are pretty good against monstrous infantry as well. Like I said, I found them to be most effective against units of cavalry. I think they're going to be a pretty decent choice, honestly, against factions that bring up a lot of elite tier cavalry. You can see those Trolls definitely taking a beating there from those Bone Giants. So yeah, up through the center, meanwhile, Grimgor kind of getting the best of Khalida here, especially the fact that Wurzag's in here supporting. Khalida definitely does not want to stay and take this fight. There's even a Goblin Big Boss here applying some poison. Despite the Tomb Scorpion here, we're going to cast an overcast net here just to pin everything down and spring Khalida loose here. There are Orc Biggins, Boar Biggins that is, penetrating the back line here, though. They're going to be getting in on these Skeleton Warriors. You can see the Bone Giant, those massive arrows flying in there and kind of exploding in a very magical fashion. So yeah, it looks like we've got Here We Go coming down from Wurzag there. Grimgor, unfortunately, has been routed off. He's very low on HP and actually gets sniped by a Bone Giant. So, although they are anti-large missiles, obviously they can still snipe out a character like that if they're very low on HP. But definitely not the best use. You wouldn't want to be shooting at them the whole battle, I wouldn't think. They're an infantry lord, but in a situation like that, perfect shot from Gojira's Bone Giant, I believe that was. And yeah, these other two definitely performing very well. Looks like we've almost got some XP chevrons. This Bone Giant in the rear has racked up an XP chevron already. Ushabti Greatbows having to be used in combat, though, at this point, as the Greenskins have cut through a lot of the chaff infantry that we had kind of holding the line. Ushabti summons, though, helping to support these Tomb Scorpions here. Going to be melting these Rusty Airs. Cetra also getting in here and doing some nice work against these Savage Orcs. He's been continuously throwing out those buff spells and providing that healing, of course. Every time he casts a spell, he puts out a little bit of healing from the Lord of Nehekara, so that's always nice. Yeah, these Bone Giants, though, are, of course, the focus of the battle, and they are firing away. We still got this Casket of Souls online, at least for the moment. You can see this Gabo Big Boss is in here trying to change that, and he probably will be just fine at doing so, unless this Bone Giant decides to turn around and pop him in the head. But anyway, Spider Rider's being shattered at this point. Khalida is somehow barely alive. She's been running around in this pocket and has been providing a buff to these guys as much as possible. But at this point, Chosen of the Gods, Regiment of Renown, and Ushabti Greatbows are out of ammo. They're fighting in combat. Biggins will do okay here. Khalida probably doesn't want to be taking this fight when she's this low on HP. But yeah, you can see her going to be finished off in short order here by those Biggins. So, oh man, and just right by the skin of her tail there, gets bopped on the back by a Biggin there. So, unfortunate for Khalida, but we've bought enough time, hopefully. The balance of power is still very even at this point. Bone Giants are fighting. The casket has been taken down. You can see it laying inanimately here. But Wurzag coming over here, trying to get on this Bone Giant. He's going to get smacked around a little bit. The Bone Giants are pretty decent in melee. They don't have the best combat stats, but they have pretty heavy weapon damage, and especially if you have like Cetra or someone nearby providing that My Will Be Done, or you know, you're using other spells. I've been dropping that, haven't quite caught it, but I've been dropping the what's the buff spell? Barona's Time Warp from the Lore of Light, because it's one of the few melee attack buffs available to the Tomb Kings, and it's got quite a large area of effect, so I figured it would be a good buff to bring in a 2v2 situation. And so I've been dropping that continuously, trying to buff up especially these constructs as we fight the bow constructs in melee, so that they're a little bit better. At this point, a lot of the Greenskin forces shattering. There still are some health units on the field, though. This unit of Orc Biggins. We've also got an Orc Shaman here, relatively healthy. Gobbo Big Boss about half health. There are some rallying Trolls and some Greenskin missile units as well over here on the side. Another Gobbo Big Boss in the vicinity. So yeah, the leadership of the Greenskins has mostly been taken out in terms of their generalship, but we still got a few heroes kind of holding things together. Cetra, trying to change that, is coming in here, trying to get in on the Orc Shaman, but the Trolls have something to say about that. You can see them pushing forward here. My Chosen of the Gods are going to pull back and try and rear charge here into this situation, because we've got this huge healthy group of Savage Orc Biggins, which they are still frenzied, I believe. Yep, they're still frenzied, so they're going to be doing quite a bit of damage in melee, and they're immune to psychology as long as that frenzy is active. So their anti-large bonus, they'll be pummeling these Bone Giants. You can see this one taking an alarming amount of damage, especially with these Broken Tusk Mob now in here. We've got a few Greenskin missile units rallying around, trying to fire in here. And yeah, it's just all kinds of madness. This Bone Giant seems to have unanimated or something. He's not. There we go. Now he's getting some stomps in. But yeah, Cetra came back. We had to throw in the Chosen of the Gods just to spring him loose from those trolls there. Now he's come back, screened out this Goblin Big Boss, and going to be taking him down with the help of that Bone Giant also firing in there. Probably doing a little bit of friendly fire to Cetra as well, but it's a little bit of a desperate situation at this point. You can see balance of power, though, is starting to turn in our favor. With the loss of leadership, terror, of course, is going to become an issue for the Greenskins. These Savage Orc Biggins were holding out very admirably. They were wavering for a long time there, just barely getting terrified away. So, yeah, it's looking to be pretty well in our favor. We've still got a little bit of time left on the battle, but so far, I have to say I'm pretty impressed with the Bone Giant. I know it's kind of hard to tell just from one 2v2. I will need to do some more testing with them, but like I said, I feel like against factions that bring elite tier heavy cavalry, especially elite tier heavy cavalry that has physical resistance, like Britonia and the High Elves, for example, I feel like the Bone Giants are going to be a pretty solid pick in those matchups. I'll have to mess around with it and see, but overall they seem to be quite cost effective from my experience. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What has been your experience using the Bone Giants in multiplayer, if you've gotten the chance to, or even in campaign if you've gotten the chance to use the Bone Giants. Let me know what you think. I think it's a super cool addition, and it's awesome that Creative Assembly is willing to add in some free content that I'm not sure exactly what the story was with the Bone Giants. I guess maybe they were probably developed part way and just didn't quite make the final release date. Similar to the monster that is supposedly coming to the Dark Elves, although we have yet to see hide nor hair of it. Similar to that, I suppose, just kind of an addition later on down the line, and it's cool that Creative Assembly is willing to go back and add those things that didn't quite make the cut at a later date, because there's just so much lore and cool units to the Warhammer universe, and I really hope that they take that approach to the next level and start to add in some more legendary lords for some of the older factions as well, particularly factions like, you know, the Wood Elves. They only have 2. Norska, I know, was just released, so they probably won't get another release for a while, but it would be cool to see a free LC Lord for Norska down the line. You know, there's a lot they could do with it, but it is going to be victory for the Tomb Kings today. Khalida did fall, but Cetra carrying the day here. All 3 Bone Giants still on the field and still relatively healthy, so yeah, Pyrrhic victory indeed. Well played to everyone involved. Let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown here. For Gojira's forces fighting under Cetra, Bone Giant, 40 kills, 2 XP chevrons, did some excellent work. The Tomb Guard, in certain situations, Kepler Guard especially, did very well. The Hero Titan was a little bit of wasted investment, but hey, at least it provided some magic regeneration while it was alive. Cetra himself racking up 99 kills, just being an absolute powerhouse. In terms of my forces here, both Bone Giants racking up kills and XP chevrons, 74 and 86, 2 XP chevrons on this guy, quite impressive. 80 kills on the Casket of Souls and an XP chevron as well, 125 and 92, just all these heavy missile units definitely performing well, and I'm not sure 100% how this build would perform in 1v1s. I'll have to test to see if builds like this work well in that format, but the Bone Giant especially seems to pair very well with Khalida's buff, and I think it'll finally maybe give Khalida a little bit of a niche. I know it's kind of weird when the Tomb Kings were coming out, a lot of people said that they thought she might be the most competitive, and that turned out to very much not be the case. Cetra and Arcan, well, Arcan especially, have and still are probably the most competitive picks. But I like this kind of missile play with Khalida. I think I'll have to do some more experimenting with it here, but it was definitely a lot of fun. In terms of the Greenskins here, the Heroic Corps not racking up too many kills, but they're mostly just there to buff. Grimgore, a little bit unfortunate. I'll have a video about Grimgore soon, but Grimgore especially needs some buffs, and I think I might include it in a larger video about the Greenskins, but I haven't decided 100% yet whether I wanted to make individual video about Grimgor, or just include him in the video about the greenskins I'm planning to make as well, because I do want to talk about the greenskins and kind of what I hope to see for them. Some things I've touched on before, but just to refresh it in everyone's mind, since now we've got Norska out, we're looking ahead now at what Creative Assembly is going to be doing next, and I think that the greenskins are a faction that could definitely use some love in terms of some free LC, similar to what the dwarves have got, but maybe a little bit further. We'll have to see how far Creative Assembly is willing to go, of course. But yeah, in terms of the army breakdown here for them, the rest of the way, Biggin's doing pretty well. The missile line definitely did some damage to the constructs. I mean, they took down that Hero Titan, no problem, definitely. The Trolls did some damage in some key situations. They took out my Chosen of the Gods all said and done, but weren't able to before they had used up all their missiles, so that in and of itself was pretty rough. For Wurzag's Bloody Hands here, the Savage Biggins actually doing quite well, 120, 120, one of them getting an XP Chevron. The Boar Biggins definitely took some heat there, especially, I know I was focus firing them with my Bone Giants, and I believe Gojira was as well. Mangy Marauders got netted and caught by Skeleton Spears, which is a bit unfortunate, and the Black Orcs also just kind of got monster mashed there in the center. But overall, very fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Thank you very much for watching once again, and we'll see you next time.